Hey, Stephen Yanni here doing the junkyard crawl at Bernardston Auto Wrecking in Bernardston, Massachusetts with a 1972 Chevy Nova. Now, a lot of people remember the Nova for the SS, really kind of cool cars, but a lot of folks don't remember they made a four-door. Now, this is a third generation Nova. These were built between 1968 and 74, and the four-door version arrived in 1972. In 73, actually, there was even a hatchback. In fact, we did a video on a hatchback Nova maybe about a month ago. Check it out in the show description if you want to see what a hatchback Nova looks like from 73. But again, this one here is a 1972 four-door. And I gotta remember, 1972 was the year right before the OPEC oil crisis, and sales of small cars were happening. But still, in 72, 44% of all Chevrolets sold were full-size models, and believe it or not, the Nova only accounted for 15% of Chevy sales. The Vega, of course, was also new in 71, and so maybe nibbled into the small Nova sales, the Vega being even smaller than Nova. Now, this one being a four-door, there were 260,000 two-doors built in 72, and only 89,518 four-doors, so like 2-to-1, something like 3-to-1 ratio. The two-doors were far more popular. Now here's the thing, the base price on this car was $2,379, only $28 more than a two-door. So if you had a family and you wanted a compact Chevrolet, the Nova four-door wasn't a bad call. Now at the back of this, we can see 1972, the final year for the rigidly mounted rear bumper. 1973 would bring the 2.5-mile-per-hour bumper here with a shock absorber to help absorb impacts. Again, 1972, final year for the standard rear bumper. But on this one here, we can see that the deck lid is nailed shut. We can't really open that. So we'll continue our little trek around here. And here is the four-door function right here. Now this one is a basic stripper. We can see inside this one has the automatic on the column, not a 3-speed manual, which was certainly possible. But look at this rubber floor mat. That's not carpeting. That's actually hard blue rubber. And again, that's what you got if you got the base Nova. This stuff right here is hard rubber, bench seat up front. Again, no super sport here. But again, 1972, first year for the four-door. We can see right here a full rear door, full width back seat, and easy access to the back of the car. Now keep in mind, this third generation Nova, 68 through 74, no convertibles, no wagons. So strictly two-door or four-door coupes. Let's look at the front of this thing, and we can see right here, there's no engine logo, there's no 350, nothing happens. So we know it's a six-banger. And under the hood, sure enough, yeah, there it is. This is the 250 cubic inch 6-cylinder Chevy inline. Not a bad engine, but again, this is the basic workhorse of the Chevy lineup. And, you know, one barrel carburetor. And right here we see something kind of cool. This is the 1972 back to 68 grille. And for 1973, this effect here went away on the edge. A filler panel filled this in. So 72 was the final year for this grille. Now here's the thing, Chevrolet made big hay about the fact they didn't do annual model year changes on Nova. They were kind of taking a page out of the Volkswagen Beetle book, which said, hey, we don't change our Volkswagen Beetle because we don't have to, they're that good. Well, check this out. This is a 1972 Chevy Nova catalog right here. How to see less of your mechanic and more of America. You can see here a Chevy two-door right here. And again, there were 260,215 of these made and only 89,518 four doors. But here's that four-door, new for 72. But check this out. It says here, it took 5 years to make Nova what it is today. In other words, 68 was the first year. And it says here, we spent our time refining the previous model, making improvements that make it more car. And they're even bragging in a 1972 catalog, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72. They're telling you the car looks the same from year to year. Now, there were some changes. They describe here, 68, the first year for the third gen, more powerful standard 6 and V8 engines, more on those in a second. And of course, cross-flow radiator, bias-mounted rear shocks, foot-operated parking brake, etc. 1969, finned front brake drums, turbo-hydromatic, finally available, the 3-speed automatic. Before that, 2-speed power glide was the rule. Of course, the 3-speed was optional. You could still get get the two-speeder. 1970, hidden antenna, factory installed radios, low profile tires, and in 71, new side terminal Energizer battery, and of course operating on low lead fuels. That's right, 8.5 to 1 compression, and of course softer instrument panel knobs. That side terminal battery, by the way, is long gone, but the selling point on that, believe it or not, was that the circular side post had more contact area than a traditional post. Who knows? The only bummer with those things is when that little screw-in thing strips out, it's not fun. And beyond that, if you're trying to jump your battery, there's a little tiny nub to put your clamp on. Not a lot of fun. The side post batteries kind of suck if you ask anybody who dealt with them. But here's the thing. On this Nova, the other end of the range was this, 1968. Here it is right here. It says here, toughest block on the block. They're talking here about the L78 375 horse 396 Nova SS. Again, this is 1968, only available for a couple years, the big block Nova, but there it is right there. So a lot of folks think of the Nova, they think of this right here. But we can't forget, the four doors were certainly a big part of the mix. And in 1972, the four-door production was a pretty big chunk. There were a total of 68,000 or so of these things. But with that said, this one is a very utilitarian car. Now, the good news is you can put a big block in one of these things. The downside is that Chevrolet never made a four-door SS until you get into the Impala SS of the 1990s. But wouldn't that have been cool? You know, a 396 four-speed, four-door Nova sleeper, Nova Deluxe. That'd be an awesome thing. But again, the only way to get a big block in a Nova was through the SS package. And speaking of that kind of thing, in 72 you could still get the 354 barrel with a four-speed transmission in your Nova, but again, only in the SS. You get a 307 if you wanted the non-SS cars, and a 352 barrel, but the 354 barrel was only SS stuff, dual exhaust, etc. But that's the story of how the Chevy Nova wasn't always a two-door. In fact, a whole bunch of them were four-door, like this one right here. Now, if you like this video, be sure to subscribe to the Steve Maggs YouTube channel. Hit the like button, share this with your friends, and hit the bell so that you know when the next video comes out, which is tomorrow morning.